Now, Sports Talk with Brodes. Here's Hunter Brody.
My basketball expertise tells me that Joel Embiid is damn good at this sport. 14 of 16 from the charity stripe, 29 points, 16 rebounds, all over the place. When he left the game and he re-entered in that third quarter, the squad went on 11-0 run. You could tell that the team was energized and he was the difference maker. Now, is this a way to win long term? Can you have success all the time relying on Joel Embiid to be this way? I don't think so. I think this is a product of it being early, game 4 of the season. He has a lot of adrenaline going. There's not as much physical fatigue happening yet. At some point, Joel Embiid will break down to a certain level when it comes to his endurance, when it comes to him being in shape or not. So I don't think you can rely on Joel Embiid to just steal you games after having a miserable performance all the time. Let's be realistic. A lot played a role in the outcome of this game. The fact that the Toronto Raptors were in so much foul trouble in the second quarter that allowed the Sixers to get to the line, to crack back into things, to go on a 15-3 run when Kyle Lowry was sitting on the bench. All of that played a huge role in the Sixers coming back. Now, what pissed me off is after that 14-3 run where the Sixers tied it up 48-48, they ended the first half by allowing the Raptors to go on this 8-0 run, and as soon as they took all the momentum, they allowed Toronto to take it right back. That was so frustrating, really. It was killing me inside that I had to see that happen. You just crawled all the way back. You strategically knew and took advantage of a major flaw with the Raptors. They were in so much foul trouble. If you got fouled, your ass was going to the free throw line. So strategically, they saw an option. They saw a way to get back into it. You did it. You did it so perfectly. You did it so well. And then all of a sudden, with the blink of an eye, the Raptors go up big again? They hit, 10 three-pointers while the Sixers had 14 shots made? What was going on? Seth Curry passing up wide open looks, wide open 3 attempts. What happened early? I thought real early, I'm talking early first quarter, they were so interested in getting everybody else involved except for Embiid that it hurt the basketball team. Why not go to the guy early? Establish your identity. Who's going to stop him? They don't have Marc Gasol. They don't have Serge Ibaka. This is a new unit. This is a new Toronto team. They don't have the big guys to stop Embiid. Make a statement early. I'm annoyed with this, really. I know that it's satisfying that they found a way, and I praised them earlier when they played Washington. I said, if you find a way to win, good teams do that, and teams will have ugly wins in their 72-game season. But when I'm watching this team play, there's so many damn issues. It's not a fun watch. It's not. I need more out of Ben Simmons. If this is the Ben Simmons you're going to get all year, it ain't worth it. This isn't it. You need more. And Doc, after the game, is saying, what I'm looking for out of Ben Simmons is playing great defense, running this team, and winning basketball games. You need more than that, Doc. I mean, it's that simple. You need more than that. You do. There was one moment early in this game where Ben Simmons was in the corner 3. He got the basketball. It looked like he was going to take the shot. Instead, he faked it. He drove. He kicked it out to Tobias, who had a fantastic game. He missed that specific look from 3, and Toby did have a wide open look, so it's not like he passed up his own 3 and didn't get anything significant on the alternative. They did. They got a nice look at it. But you can't be fully satisfied with Ben. I know he packed the stat sheet, finished with 11. What was his finishing stat line here on the final? Ben Simmons, 11, 13, and 7. 3 of 11 from the field, 5 of 8 from the free throw line. I know what he brings defensively. I know his versatility. I know his facilitating is outrageous. I see it all. You need more from Ben Simmons. Now, we are broadcasting live, as always, from the Manscaped Man Cave. You get 20% off and free shipping with the code BROD at manscaped.com. Yeah, the first quarter was abysmal. At one point, they missed 9 shots. They were 0 for 9. They went on a run of no field goals for over 4 minutes, which bled into the second quarter until Mike Scott got a bucket. So sometimes when you're watching this team play offensively, they got nothing. They have no clue. And that's why I say you can't just rely on Joel Embiid to this level. Some superstars in this league, you can. With Joel Embiid, though, based off of who he is, his endurance side of things, him being a center, it doesn't work long term. You need help. And in this game, he got Tobias to step up. Can you rely on Tobias to play this type of basketball consistently? I loved it. He went through spurts of great decision-making, quick, knowing what he's going to do with the ball. Now, there was an ugly spurt involved as well, but ultimately, you look at what he provided, and specifically late, him and Joel Embiid making some nice plays, hitting some nice shots. They were difference makers, but do I think this is really who Tobias is, or do I think it's somewhere in between the pitiful Tobias that we've seen and this? That's what I think. I think he's somewhere in between the two. If you don't get this type of effort from Tobias Harris, well, I don't think you finish the game off as strong as they did. I did hear this from some fans, though, and from some people. While last year was really annoying to watch the team play, and they did find ways to win basketball games, it wasn't as if they were this dumpster fire team that won 0 games last year. As brutal as it was, they still won basketball games, right? Last year, they still were victorious. Well, this felt, even though it was garbage, it was trash, and they squeaked away with one, this was a game that they normally wouldn't win. That's what some would say about this, but I disagree, because this was a home game. If this was in Toronto, if this was on the road, and I know there's no fans, so it's not as big of an impact, but last year, they were, 29-2 at home or something outrageous like that? I don't know if that's exactly where it finished. The stoppage that was put on the season makes my mind boggled a bit. But this is a game they won, sure. They won so many games at the Wells Fargo last year. This isn't the same Raptors team. It's not. Joel Embiid, after the game was interviewed, he made a little joke about his injury. Because in the third quarter, he goes out, and I prematurely might have tweeted, what are the odds that we get an update from the 76ers after the game saying Joel Embiid would be reevaluated in 2 weeks? Well, little did I know that 4 minutes later he would return, he'd be an Energizer bunny, and the rest of the squad would step up and follow his lead. And then, of course, I had to respond to my own tweet and say something along the lines of, I guess it's not high odds. I mean, we're so used to seeing that. We see it every single damn year. Is this the turning point for Joel Embiid? Is this normally a situation where Joel Embiid would linger with this hamstring? He would take time off. He wouldn't play. I don't know. We'll see how it goes moving forward, because I can also see a scenario easily where he won't play next game for precautionary measures or something of that nature. I don't know. I just wouldn't be surprised. But I was happy that he bounced back. I was happy that he was able to come back into the basketball game. How many times do you remember that happening, where he goes down with an injury and then he finishes the game? He comes back. Normally, they rule him out, and then you just wait, and you wait for more information, and then you question the medical team. So just something to keep an eye on, of course. He was joking, though, and made a joke with Amy Fadul as if he was really hurt, and her face looked like she was concerned, as she should be. I think all of us were thinking, what the hell are you saying, Joel Embiid? He also alluded to the defense late, and it was a difference maker. Their defense clamped down. A lot of guys recorded some steals involved. The Raptors turned the ball over. Their guys didn't have outstanding nights. Pascal Siakam didn't have this insane night from shooting the basketball perspective. So it's not as if their defense wasn't a major impact on the game, and that's something that Doc praised heading into the season. I want to be a number one defense type team. I want my defense to be at the top of the league. Late stretches, they put the clamps down. And it helps when Joel Embiid is protecting the rim. Look how many points they scored in the paint. It wasn't as if they had this abusive night in the paint. Well, guess what? That's because you had the big guy back there. It's not as if, though, this Raptors team didn't get good looks, because I thought that there were plenty of moments and plenty of stretches throughout where the Sixers weren't making it easy on them. They were able to swing the basketball around. They were literally crushing the Sixers with a bunch of three-pointers, and it hurt. Now, I didn't think that they could keep that up. It was an outrageous percentage. At some point, I think that they would come back to reality a bit, and they did. They did. And I think a lot of that played a role in the Sixers coming back, for sure. Look, they were 8 of 31 from three, the Sixers were, 25.8%. That's bad. That's bad. And this is with your three-point guys getting looks. So Doc says, once again, that he's not worried about it. He's okay with the looks, and they will eventually fall. All right, we're only 4 games in, right? It's only game 4 of this season, but I just wonder if at game 26 we're going to be hearing the same thing. Well, we're just waiting for them to fall still. Is this Danny Green? I need more out of Danny Green. I even questioned Seth Curry, and I know Seth Curry had that awesome shot late. Joel Embiid with the fantastic pass. And we questioned how many times about him and the double team and the triple team. Can he pass out of it? Well, in that scenario, he made an A-plus pass and Seth Curry delivered. But Seth Curry played 33 minutes in this game. He finished with 17 points. He was a difference maker for sure, but I went back and I looked up what he did in his career to this point. He averaged 15 minutes, 29 minutes, 19 minutes, 25 minutes in other stops throughout his tenure. And now he's playing around 33 here as the starter. Sometimes too much of someone depletes what they do. If you get certain players in limited action, their impact is bigger. And with Seth Curry, look, I know this team doesn't have a bunch of starting rotation options. They just don't. So I'm not acting as if they're missing out completely on other guys they have on their bench. This is more just telling you how I felt even to begin the season, that they were short pieces. This isn't a team that just because in theory they make more sense X's and O's wise, that they're going to run the table and be this awesome team that just dominates opponents and goes win a championship. No, they have flaws. To me, Seth Curry is not a legitimate starter on a team that goes and wins and is explosive. A significant role for him, for me, would be if he was locked and loaded in a nice bench piece and still logged 20-plus minutes each night. But because you had the Al Horford contract, had to get rid of him off your books, and you were handcuffed in other areas, this is what you have this season. I mean, I understand I'm talking more long-term with Seth, but between Seth Curry, Danny Green, something's off right now between those two, and I don't know if it's as simple as just keep getting the same looks and it will eventually start flying and you'll be rocking and rolling with this great three-point shooting team. I just don't think that is the case. I think there's a reason why Seth Curry to this point has been giving you 19 minutes, 25 minutes. There was a 1 year of 29 minutes, which is a decent amount, 15 minutes a little bit earlier in his career. I see more of that 25-minute role than 33-minute role if I'm looking at the best version of Seth Curry. But once again, this is more of a longer-term thing than just a tonight thing. Looking about the game tonight, right? So there was a situation that stood out to me, a moment of the game for Brodes, right? And I thought that this could possibly have been the moment where they lost the game. Now, they ended up tying it 87-87 with about 5 minutes to go after this point, but this is something I highlighted and I had to jot down because this potentially could have been such a difference-making stretch for the Sixers. The score was 79-78 Toronto Raptors with about 9 to 10 minutes to go in the basketball game. Matisse Thybulle had a wide open lane. There was a defender who was in the paint area. He went up and tried to make a play. There was a wide open three, a guy wide open in the corner. I forget specifically who it was, but regardless, wide open, hands up in the corner. Matisse tries to take it anyway, does not get any points. Next possession for the Raptors, they bang a three. Seth Curry takes it hard to the paint, no points. Raptors fouled on the other side. side. Embiid gets a technical as well. No box out on the missed free throw. Put back on the missed free throw, and I was so irritated at that point. Those are the type of stretches I look for to really dissect and to really analyze throughout games, because to me, in the moment, oh, it's so defeating. It's so deflating. You know how big of a moment that really is. Now, like I said, the Sixers eventually make shots, tie it up. Raptors are popping some threes that I didn't think were necessarily great looks throughout that backstretch of 10 minutes or so. But they were knocking them down earlier, so I guess maybe they assume that, hey, this is what we did to this point. Let's keep shooting them to see if we get back on track. But that obviously did not happen. There was something crazy. How about the Baines three? I know it was in his fingertips when you saw the replay, but the fact that a couple minutes later on the clock is when they go back, take points off, like that changes the game. That changes possessions. To me, that makes no sense. I could be outrageous right now, but I honestly believe that is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. You're playing a handful of minutes when you don't even know the proper score. Are you going to pretend like that doesn't matter to what you're going to run? That has no sort of impact on what happens for play calls and what you do as a team, whether you're down one, up one, it's tied. So a couple moments later is when you take the three off the board. That's a huge flaw in the rule book. And I know it benefited the Sixers. You take a shot off the board. You take an Aaron Baines three. And, of course, by the way, he made the shot. As if there's 1.7 seconds left on the shot clock. It goes to him for 60 feet deep. I mean, how far back was he? Too far back. That's the Boston Celtics vibe. You always get those guys on the Celtics, the tall centers that are nobodies, that drain threes on you. Whether it's Dice, whether it's Baines. It doesn't matter what jersey they're in. Once they do it under the Celtics regime, they'll do it to you anywhere else in this league. It's pretty wild. I actually almost respect the hell out of it that they find ways to do it. But I thought that was wild as well. Toronto only scored 17 points in the fourth quarter. So you talk about the clamps, you talk about the defense. That was really encouraging. Now, I definitely want to touch on things I loved out of Joel Embiid. But first, let me tell you about my friends at DraftKings. While the holiday season may be winding down, the sports calendar is in full swing. From collegiate to professional sports, there is no shortage of action, and there is no better place to get in on all the action than with DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app. To celebrate this year's college football playoffs, DraftKings is giving all new users the chance to bet on any semifinal team to win the championship at 100-1 odds. That's right. All you have to do is bet $1 on any semifinal team to win the championship. And if your team wins, you cash $100. While we're all excited for football, let's not forget of the basketball season that just kicked off. So check out all the daily odds boosts. Download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code Brodes when you sign up to get 100-1 odds on any semifinal team to win it all. That's code Brodes for new players to get a shot at $100 on any semifinal this week for a limited time. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older. Pennsylvania only. Restrictions apply. In partnership with Meadows Racetrack and Casino. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. So, with Joel Embiid, I saw a lot of fantastic things out of him, whether it's getting up early in the play, running the floor early, getting into position where he wants to be. Where does he want to initiate the offense? Give me the basketball. Let's do some early posts up. All right, I'm posting up early in the possession. Let me do it. Give me the basketball. Let me operate. Let me clock in and clock out at the office. So I love that. And you can see that he is now bought in more when he's off the ball. And that's naturally going to happen when you go from an offense that is not so much pick and roll heavy to being more pick and roll heavy, right? And I know that they utilized dribble handoffs in the past where he was clearly the big guy who's going to utilize J.J. Redick running off screens and being the guy who hands the ball off there. But when you're running more pick and rolls, you're running more action where you're setting screens, and this whole team in general is setting more screens around, which is entertaining to see for sure. But seeing Joel Embiid specifically being stronger off the ball, it's only helped him when he does get the ball. It only helps him get in certain situations as well and helps his teammates out, where then the game is easier on him as well based off of the the spacing and the offense that he's creating for what he's doing when the ball is not in his hands. But he was seriously doing everything. I'm talking right now about what he's doing off the ball. I saw him literally initiating the offense, being the guy carrying the ball up. Like, he did everything for the most part. I'm not trying to discredit other players, Tobias Harris, because I really did enjoy Tobias Harris's game in this one. Knocked down some threes, that was tremendous. Body control, attacking the rim, mid-range jumper. I saw a lot that I liked out of him throughout the 48 minutes. But without Joel Embiid, you're lifeless. There's times where it looks like Embiid here, just do whatever. Do whatever. And that's the only way they can get their offense going. To me, that has to change. To me, that needs to pick up a bit. You got to be able to knock down your shots. You got to be able to continue to get some good looks. I thought Danny Green, this was late in the fourth quarter, they ran 2 plays for him where he had wide open looks. One corner barely grazed the rim. Danny Green barely grazed the rim on a wide open 3-point corner look. And then a couple of possessions later, or I don't know how many possessions exactly. It was pretty close to the other one, though. He gets a 3 from the other side and ends up drilling it. But you got to get more consistent shooting out of him. 1 of 4 from 3? I can't have that. I just can't have that. So Ben Simmons, and I know I'm going all around here, but with Ben Simmons, 3 of 11 from the field. I'm just so disappointed in everything that I've seen out of Ben Simmons. Quite frankly, this is just unacceptable. To this point, it is unacceptable. And I know what's coming. Brodes, James Harden this, James Harden that. And you're going to get it every single game, after every single time you hear the name Ben Simmons, after every single time you see Houston play, after every single time you see the Sixers play. It's going to be nonstop. I don't know if I'm someone personally who's just going to sit here and bang the table and bring it up after every single game. Here's what I know. Right now, Ben Simmons is on this basketball team. Is Daryl Morey thinking about it more now that he has had 4 games to see what it is like with Ben Simmons and to recognize that you haven't really seen much from the shooting department? One other time this game, he did and this is where we're at, right? We're taking minor positives that I don't know will really relate to much. But I mentioned this when they played Cleveland. A couple times he was willing to take the contact. He lowered his shoulder, attacked the rim, and as he got fouled, he took some version of a little jump shot. He did that 1 time in this game. Now, what does that mean? I don't know. Nothing. You had that, and then you had the fake, I'm not going to shoot it, and I'm in the corner, and I'll pass it instead. 3-point look from him in this game. And I just can't stand that people think he doesn't need to shoot. You have spacing. No, you got to have more. I'm not someone who doesn't value everything else that he does. I told you his stat sheet. 11, 13, and 7. To act as if the 13 and 7 has nothing to do with the results is crazy. To think about the defense that has nothing to do with the results, that is crazy. I do know that you're lacking something so big from him. There's screenshots all over the place of Ben Simmons at the 3-point line. Guess what? Not a damn soul near him. All the defenders collapsed on their players who they need to defend, and guys are not even willing to give him the time of day. Well, that doesn't work. And guess what? If it does work here in regular season play, in a random game, it's not going to work when it actually matters. It's not going to work when the game intensifies and when there's a lot more pressure to get victories because it's a best-of-7 series. How long can Joel Embiid physically be able to handle this? Be able to handle this workload? And what will it look like when there's someone on the other end that is going to be able to give him a little bit of trouble? Now, there's not many. It's not as if there's a bunch of guys lined up ready and willing to take on Joel Embiid because they feel they'll get the best of him. But when we talk about meaningful basketball, things do get a little different. And I thought he had an awesome game. I just don't know how long you can do this. How long can you rely on Joel Embiid to get to the charity stripe 16 times? Now, there's plenty of times he does it, but I think a lot of that had to do with the Tony brothers being who's involved here from the refereeing standpoint. And when the Raptors were in so much foul trouble, that started the flow. That started the rotation of that happening. What if that doesn't happen? What if you don't get a team in foul trouble? What if you're not in the bonus, where you can constantly get to the line and chip away at things? Now, this game played out that way. I'm just going to be honest with you. When I look at this team, some might be excited with the win because they're 3-1 and they're finding ways to get wins even though it's ugly. I'm looking at it as it's ugly. I mean, it's just flat out ugly. And this isn't something that they can constantly do and end up being fantastic. So things need to change. We're waiting for the 20-game mark. That's where we really dial in. But I've seen common themes throughout 4 games. These common themes have been consistent throughout 4 games. I will continue to analyze things. I will continue to look at it with binoculars. I'm not claiming that this is exactly who they are forever. I'm not saying or expecting this to be them for the rest of the season. I'm going to be heavily criticizing them, though, until things change. If you watch that game and seriously think that this style of play is going to be beneficial and the way that this offense looks at times will work, it's not reality. I see better basketball and better flow offensively at LA Fitness from guys who work 9 to 5, from dads who wear the New Balance shoes or the white Nikes, the Grill Masters 3000s. I do want to point this out, though. When you think about that 11-0 run in the third, where Embiid was doing everything, this was the lineup. It was Shake Milton, Tyrese Maxey, Matisse Thybulle, Tobias Harris, and Joel Embiid. So that's what they rolled with when that spark occurred. Now, why is Matisse Thybulle getting minutes over Furkan Korkmaz? Oh, well, how did I not bring this up? I don't wish injury upon anyone, even if I disliked him. I don't want Furkan Korkmaz to be injured by any means. I would never in a million years ever wish for anyone to be injured. Ever. So it's very unfortunate that he limped off last game. I didn't really touch on it too much. Furkan had a brutal game last game, could barely knock any shots down. He ended up having an injury. He will be reevaluated, but this gives Matisse Thybulle an opportunity to land some minutes and to show, Coach, I can play. This is big. I mean, this is monstrous for Matisse Thybulle. Now, this is a different skill set. It would be different if a three-point shooter like Isaiah Joe was the guy that got minutes, and then it's okay if he plays hot, if he stretches the floor like you need to, and he's shooting better than Furkan, will Furkan lose his minutes? I think because Furkan and Matisse Thybulle are so different, and they bring so many different variables to the equation, and they're not even close to the same player at all, that there's no stress involved, I would say, with Furkan losing the spot. Like, it's totally 2 different style of plays where Furkan gives you the spacing, Matisse Thybulle gives you the defense. I don't think it really relates the same. But Furkan will be out of the rotation. I think that's big in terms of we know. Now, I don't agree with this, but we know the coaching staff wants to utilize Furkan as one of the early guys off the bench, whether it's Shake Milton, then Furkan, Shake Milton, Dwight Howard, Furkan. Those 3, that's what we've seen. So from a cohesive standpoint, from a, hey, we got to learn each other and learn how we're going to operate cleanly and smoothly as a team, well, Furkan Korkmaz is a part of that equation, and now he's not going to be. And with Matisse, I can still say I'm not thrilled with what I've seen out of him. It's almost as if I feel he's trying to do too much because he knows that this is sort of a proving moment. I've been through that too. Towards the end of my hockey career, I had very limited action, and I felt every time the puck was on my stick, I had to do something to prove to my coach, I deserve to be out here. So sometimes I would hold my stick too tightly. I tried to make a pass I shouldn't have. Instead of keeping it simple, I would do something stupid, or if I had a play to make instead, I would chip the puck out of the zone just to be safe. So I did an okay play, but there was a great play to be made. And just because I knew and I was so willing to try so much to prove to my coach, well, I ended up making mistakes. And I feel out there, Matisse Thybulle, in his very limited action, is sort of in that mentality of, I got to prove to coach I can do this, and maybe you're not getting the best play because of that. But we'll see how that whole situation shapes up It's not the biggest concern. There's a lot of other concerns, like this offense just looking putrid, this offense being brutal, this offense having zero flow. It has to change. It has to change. If you think this is reliable, well, then you do drugs. I want you. I want what you smoke. I want what you're doing. Unless it's hard. I'm not into the hard drugs. So yes, it's a win, and I'm frustrated with the win. Is that crazy of me? I really don't think so. Listen up, fellas. 2020 sucked. It's almost the new year, which means new balls with our sponsor, Manscaped. Manscaped is best in men's below-the-waist grooming, offering precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Listen to this perfect package 3.0 that you must purchase. It starts out with the Lawnmower 3.0, waterproof and skin-safe trimmer, which reduces the nicks to your two best friends. The Crop Preserver anti-chafing ball deodorant and moisturizer. The Crop Reviver ball toner spray. The Shed travel bag to keep all your goodies stored. The anti-chafing boxer briefs. A guy with hairy balls is like the year 2020. Don't be that guy. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code BROD at manscaped.com. That's code BROD at manscaped.com. 20% off and free shipping. Your balls will absolutely 100% thank you. When do they play next? Thursday? They play Orlando. Ooh, a little Markelle Fultz after the payday. After the contract, you get a little bit of that. You get a little bit of Markelle Fultz. We'll see that. That'll be fun. Oh, the Orlando Magic always gives this team trouble, though. There's always those teams that shouldn't, but they do. And Orlando is one of them. So will they be able to keep the stretch going of not great basketball, but somehow 3-1? I want to know if I'm in the outlier, though. Am I crazy? Tobias, 26 points, 11 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks. Ooh. Toby, when he's playing right, it's effective. Can he play right majority of the time, though? Well, that is surely something we will be looking at. All right, that's all we have today, though. Thank you so much for listening, and I will see you next time.